Efecto Cascada.
Un podcast de Exploro.
Alright, so dear Explorators, welcome once again to Efecto Cascada, a podcast where we dive into the forefront of innovation, share insights from entrepreneurs, and uncover cascade funding opportunities. As you may all know already, in each episode we try to explore the latest trends into the digital stream, the arts, and technologies that are shaping our future. So broadcasting from Pamplona, Spain, we try to reach a global audience starting from European Union projects. So today's episode, this is a very special one indeed, because we're focusing on a key topic, which is empowering women entrepreneurs, especially in the deep tech sector. So also we'll be touching the vital role of initiatives such as the EmpoWomen program, which are breaking down barriers. This European Union program has not only helped women-led startups secure much-needed funding, but also has provided invaluable resources to nurture innovation and drive it forward. So joining us today, we are here with two brilliant leaders. First of all, there's Marta Fernández Bernabeu. She's a European Union project manager from Exploro, and she's the coordinator of EmpoWomen. Plus, there's Neide Vieira with us. In fact, she's one of the first beneficiaries of EmpoWomen, so she'll be, explaining her expertise in this matter, and she's the dynamic COO and co-founder of IPLEXMED. So together they'll share, as I said, their expertise on how EmpoWomen is helping women entrepreneurs overcome the hurdles in deep tech, and how startups like IPLEXMED are driving innovation forward. So we'll be discussing the challenges that women in the tech ecosystem are facing nowadays and how EmpoWomen is paving the way for a more inclusive and supporting entrepreneurial environment and ecosystem. So hence, put your headphones on and let's tune in. So joining us today, we are here with two brilliant leaders in this space. First off, we are with Marta Fernández Bernabeu. She's a European Union project manager from Exploro, and she's the actual coordinator of EmpoWomen. And then there's Neide Vieira with us. She's the dynamic COO and co-founder of IPLEXMED. So together, they'll share their expertise on how EmpoWomen is helping women entrepreneurs overcome the hurdles in deep tech, and how startups like IPLEXMED and Neide, which is one of the beneficiaries from Open Goal 1 of EmpoWomen, are driving innovation in healthcare. So we'll discuss the challenges faced by women in the deep tech ecosystem and how, this program is paving the way for a more inclusive entrepreneurial ecosystem. All right, so put your headphones on and let's tune in. So welcome, Marta and Neide. How are you, girls?
Good.
Yeah, nice, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much for coming here to the podcast. It's great to have both of you. All right, Marta, so would you mind introducing yourself a little to the audience and maybe tell us what inspired you to get involved in European Union projects?
Okay, so, as you already introduced, I'm a project manager in Exploro nowadays, but I started in the European projects since I was in the university. I have a degree in international relationships, and then I started a master's degree in international law. And within that master, I started my internships in one of the biggest European projects, that it's the EPLEXMED. And when I started working in this field, I was like totally in love, like knowing people from all around Europe, but not only Europe, like all around the world, learning a lot of things because European projects are very, very diverse. So I was starting learning a lot of things. And that's why I am nowadays here working in the European projects.
Okay, so we are actually, as I said before, in the presence of the actual coordinator of EmpoWomen, this initiative. But please, Marta, tell us all about the program. because we want to know what's all about.
Okay, so EmpoWomen's project, it's an initiative funded by the European Commission under the Horizon Europe initiative. And the idea or the objective of this project is to address the underrepresentation of women in deep tech sectors, particularly in European or in the widening area countries. Because we noticed that, for example, in the biggest project that is Women Tech EU, even its focus on in tackle women, less than 50% or something like this of the applications were from widening area countries. So that's why EmpoWomen exists. Apart from that, in the deep tech sector, only 15% of the startups are funded by women, and also 10% of the patterns applications are filled by women. So we saw a gap there. And the idea is to close this gap and by promoting gender equality and diversity in the entrepreneurship.
So the program, it offers more or less 1 million euros in equity-free funding, but beyond money, are there any kind of support programs that are offered to these selected startups?
Yeah, well, apart from money, that I think it's a very important part for all the startups. We also give a 6-month acceleration program, and this program includes mentorship from industry experts, training on investment, and also we provide access to network of business angels. That it's something also very important, because if we are only providing this money and that's all, we are not like giving the how to do it, like how to reach more money for the future, more investment in the future. So yeah, apart from the money and this program, they are also requested to participate in tech summit events, and in this way they can also start building relationships with other entrepreneurs, but also with other investors. And well, this program is delivered not by Explorer, by other partner in EmpoWomen. It's Startup Wise Guys and Business Angel Europe, because they have like a huge experience in this, and we receive very good comments from the program, so we are very happy.
Neide, well, as I mentioned before, she's one of the Open Goal 1 beneficiaries of EmpoWomen, so it's a pleasure to be here with her today, because she's gonna explain what's her experience being like and so on. And well, Neide, as I said before, she's more than 18 years of experience in R&D. She's the COO and co-founder of IPLEXMED, and she'll be sharing, well, her journey, right? Introducing as well NexaGuard, which is her device. So Neide, thank you very much once again for being here. Thank you. And could you please also introduce yourself, maybe share a bit about your background and so on?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me here and having this stage to speak a little bit about myself and more, I hope, about IPLEXMED. Yeah, so as you mentioned, before being an entrepreneur, I was a PhD, so I have a bio-related academic background. And I was very focused on studying the mechanisms and the underlying pathology, let's say, and I've used different mechanisms and different organisms in these last decades, let's say. And IPLEXMED actually was born from the will of myself and my co-founders to actually translate what we are developing in the lab to an applied healthcare solution, because indeed, as a researchers, you of course have to be resilient and you're tackling major issues, but you always have this long-term vision to bring it to the lab, and that's where IPLEXMED was formed from. So having this will to bring it to the market and actually improve patients' life, let's say. So we are focusing on developing, as you mentioned, NextAward, that it's a diagnostic platform that is portable, lab grade, and delivers results in just 20 minutes. So briefly, it's composed by an electronic reader and a disposable cartridges that leverage cutting-edge graphene-based biosensing. So in this way, we can have limits of detection and sensitivity that are similar to the gold standard, which is qPCR, but in the palm of your hand. So this means clinicians can have for the first time the possibility to act on real time and deliver data-driven decisions in emergency rooms, outpatient clinics, so point of care, and even ultimately remote from at home. So the patients can have the ability to use our platform, which is very easy to use, and the clinicians remotely can treat these patients. And this is very important for the diagnosis of respiratory infections. And this is a major global health concern, particularly for the chronic respiratory disease patients, because at least 3 million premature deaths occur annually due to these respiratory infections. So they will benefit from a very fast, timely, personalized treatment. Currently, this might take 2 to 7 days and leads, of course, to symptom aggravation and worsening of their conditioning. So this is what we are focusing on developing.
In what stage are you currently in with IPLEXMED and NextAward?
Yeah, sure. So since our inception, we were able to attract more than 600K in non-dilutive and dilutive funding, and we use this mainly to support our IP strategy to develop the beta version of our prototype with high multiplex capability. As I mentioned, we want to detect multiple bacteria and their drug resistance profile. We also developed the design of our cartridges, increased our team, and started our clinical study. And indeed, we are very happy to share that we have reached clinical validation for the most prevalent strain for these patients, and we are currently concluding the other strains in the lab. So we are, let's say, wrapping up the clinical validation, and then we require additional significant funding to perform the clinical trials, which actually, because we are developing IVDR Class C, are performance tests, so very simple to develop and then, of course, go to market. Yes, so we are looking for funding in the seed stage, let's say.
As a woman entrepreneur in Deeptech, what barriers have you faced during this process, and how has, in this case, EmpoWomen helped you overcome them?
Yeah, I would say, like, in general, of course, we always have common challenges to all the entrepreneurs, but I would say definitely funding access. You know that women co-led teams have faced higher and harder challenges to reach, to have access to different funds, let's say. And of course, there's always some bias attached and the visibility of the woman-led teams. But I think things are changing. These mechanisms as EmpoWomen programs and others are building up, and I think we are on the right track, although of course we still need a few years to really reach equality. The EmpoWomen has definitely been important for us because it actually provided fundings, and this is really important because it actually allowed us to do the work, to advance, to speed, which was really important. We hired a human resource. We did part of the clinical validation also with these funds, which were really relevant. At the same time, as Marta mentioned, we have access to the very tailored mentorship, and this has been also very important for us, especially now that we are raising a round. So all this information concerning, term sheets, shareholder agreements, financial strategy, financial projections, we were able to really fine tune it to improve our data room and all of that. So we definitely benefit from the participation in this program, without a doubt. Yes.
All right, before we go to the next section, I wanted to ask you, Neide, for you, what's your ultimate vision when it comes to IPLEXMED, and how do you see the future of healthcare innovation?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, of course, there's still a long road ahead because we are a medtech startup, so we are developing hardware and software, but we are really focused, as I mentioned, in securing our seed ground to grow our team and to take the critical steps to bring our solution in the market, because indeed our ultimate goal is to transform healthcare for these chronic respiratory disease patients, but of course not only, but particularly for them, and to enable a faster and more effective treatment. We are really sure that all the at-home diagnostics field is growing, so we need solutions that provide accurate results comparable to qPCR in the palm of the patient's hands. And also in the long run, we of course want to develop other cartridges, because our platform is indeed a platform. So our cartridges can be easily adapted to detect other clinical conditions, such as nosocomial infections or sepsis that are also very relevant for the healthcare field, but also STDs and others. So there's room to develop and bring other solutions to the market as well. Yes.
All right, Marta. So as the coordinator of EmpoWomen, what would you say? In what stage of the program are you at right now? Are there any further open calls or any events that you're gonna host, or how is this going?
At this moment, we don't have more open calls. The program was conceived like 2 open calls and no more. Now we closed the second open call last month, and in March we will start the second program, the one that Neide already finished. And regarding own events or things like this, we will be attending, for example, in March, a Hello Tomorrow event with all of our representatives for second open call. Because as I said at the beginning, they are also, I don't want to say like that they are, that these are compulsory activities, but actually they are compulsory. But it's not in a sense that if they don't have these, if they don't attend these activities or these events, it's like that they are not going to be paid. It's more like if they are losing this opportunity to meet people at the events and start building this community that Neide already mentioned, they are also losing some part of this whole program. So more or less we are, let's say, more than a half of the program. This EmpoWomen program will finish at the end of this year, and well, a lot of activities to do yet, but more or less in that stage.
There's still a lot of women entrepreneurs facing challenges nowadays. What would you say? There's any missing challenges still left to be covered so that new initiatives could be created?
Of course, as I mentioned briefly, I think things are changing, but we are not there yet. And for a systemic change, for equality really come through, let's say, we do require collective effort. So I think both women and men must be engaged, and they must push forward to create a truly inclusive innovation-related ecosystem. And in this sense, I think we have to diversify the type of VCs that we have. So we need also more women VCs. We have to have more targeted opportunities for funding. So of course, EmpoWomen is amazing. You also have Women Tech EU and other types of mentorship-related programs, but programs that really deliver funds so you can actually do the work. Of course, mentorship is amazing and really important, but in the end, you need the funds, to develop your idea, your solution. And in this sense, with more programs and all of that, you will also be able to deliver more networks when we can, help each other go forward, I would say.
All right, so if it's okay for you, let's move on to the last section of the podcast, which is this little game. But don't you worry, these are just like light-hearted questions, like nothing to worry about. So let me tell you how this is gonna go. First off, you're gonna have to answer a question from the previous guest. And afterwards, you can either divide it onto yourselves. Maybe Marta can give a fun fact and Neide can give a piece of advice and then a question for the next guest, however you want. But yeah, I'll ask the question first and then you'll have the ball and you can throw it to the next one. So your question is, it comes from Simona de Rosa from T6. And her question is, which is the best and most inspiring activity that you've conducted and why? So depending on your fields, yeah.
Yeah, I can say what came immediately to my mind. So as an academic, I had the opportunity to participate in different outreach activities. So I coordinated and organized a few of them. And for me, these activities are always inspiring because you do get a chance. We worked from toddlers to seniors, but I'm really passionate about the ones I developed with toddlers because it's really nice, you know, to communicate science to them, see how, you know, their curiosities, you know, sparkling their eyes, see their thoughts and, you know, discuss with them on a one-to-one basis, all these, you know, very extremely complicated concepts that in the end are very simplified. So, and I think in these, of course, events, we also inspire these little girls and, of course, these little boys to pursue their dreams in science, we hope. So pushing again for, you know, increasing the participating in STEM areas. So that's definitely some activities that have inspired myself. Yeah.
So it's not because we are talking about EmpoWomen, but for me, one of the most inspiring activities is being part of this project. Because since I was at the university, I was very into the women underrepresentation and all these topics. Actually, my final report at the university was about this field. And it's like, yeah, and it was like, okay, I was studying something and now I'm putting into the paper what I was like investigating. And it's amazing how, I mean, it's sad in a way because it's like, okay, we are still working on this. And like 10 years ago, I was at the university studying this and now we're still working on improving the situation. But actually it's very positive in another way because I can like check in the list like, okay, this is changing, this is also changing. So yeah, it's a way to see that the improvement it's happening.
All right, so now it's your turn. So who's gonna give a fun fact?
For the ones who know me in Pamplona, because I'm working remotely from Alicante, I'm based in Alicante, I'm always cold. For me, it's always cold. It doesn't matter the weather that we have. And actually, in Alicante, I also have a blanket in my always at home because I'm always cold. Like we are in I don't know, April, Alicante, like 20 degrees, and I'm still with my blanket.
I can share that when I was younger, I practiced Taekwondo and I was a member of the Portuguese Taekwondo Federation. So martial arts, I guess.
That's huge.
That everyone knows about me. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like also you women entrepreneurs are multifaceted, like you're multi-talented and you have all these like you're gifted and you can give us lots of like random insights. All right, so and do you have any other piece of advice that you like to give to the audience, maybe tie a bit what we talked about?
My advice for anyone who are interested in being a beneficiary for any European project, it's that just keep working on what you think that can change the world, even if these words maybe can be like not realistic for someone, like change the world is something like very utopic for someone. But actually what entrepreneurs are doing, it's basically that, change the world where we are living, maybe in a smaller or in a higher scale, but these initiatives are part of a biggest change.
And well, last but not least, what's your question gonna be for the next guest?
Do we both have one each, or?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I like this discussion thing, like having more than one guest. So perhaps we could have 2 questions right now, and depending on the amount of guests that we have, I'll choose. I'll pick or.
Perfect. Yeah. I would say to the next guest, what's their safe space?
My question for the next guest maybe will be that if they can change only just one thing, no more than that, in the entrepreneurial ecosystem to improve the inclusiveness and the diversity, what would be that thing?
Okay, so we've reached the end of the episode, girls. So thank you very much for taking your time and chatting with me. It was lovely. It was a pleasure for learning all about your backgrounds and how you're supporting to the change in this paradigm of innovation and the future of healthcare as well. So yeah, this brings us to the end of this episode of Efecto Cascada. And a huge thank you as well to all exploiters who stayed all the way to the end of the episode. Thank you as well, the EmpoWomen initiative, for all that you're doing, and for Neide as well, and the IPLEXMED team for sharing all your work. So remember that you can find Efecto Cascada on all major streaming platforms, from Spotify to YouTube, because this is a video podcast. And make sure to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss, the next Cascade funding opportunity that may be the perfect, the thing that's gonna boost your project onwards. So until next time, explorers, thank you very much once again, and let's keep innovating all together. See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.